Hello, everyone. This is Donna Savage with Talk with Savage Desires, and I have today with me Kathy Malone. How are you, Kathy?
I am very good, Donna. So excited to be with you today.
Thank you for joining me with your busy schedule, and also thank you. I
Thank
wanted to bring
you.
Kathy on because we just got talking last week in terms of what she does, and her title is a divorce separation coach. I'm really curious of what a divorce separation coach is all about.
I'm going to jump in.
Jump
So I
in,
call my,
jump.
I call myself a separation and divorce coach only because a lot of people who are going through a divorce, they think that the divorce is the thing. Well, it's not. It's actually the separation that's the hardest part. And people get separated whether they're married or not. So that's why I call myself a separation and divorce coach because ending
Hmm.
any relationship, especially when it's been a long-term relationship, maybe kids, property, all that stuff is involved, it really does take on the form of a divorce, right? Go ahead.
No, finish and then I'll go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead,
And
finish up.
different, I
Go ahead.
mean, there's different legal, from different legal perspectives. So you have the Divorce Act. If you're divorced, you have the Family Law Act. If you're not actually married, sorry, if you're married, you have the Divorce Act. You have the Family Law Act that you follow if you are not married. But at the end of the day, it's still the same emotional toll, legal toll, all of that stuff that happens to people. So a lot of people go about a divorce or separation on their own with their frustrations. Emotionally it's horrible for a lot of
Hmm.
people, the effect that it has on your kids, being brought through the ringer, and they don't
Hmm.
really know what to do with this. They don't understand the legal system and how it works. Everybody feels that they're basically, their lawyers are taking advantage of them, and they
Hmm.
don't get the proper legal information. So I help with all of that.
So I'm gonna stick a pin in that for two
Hmm.
seconds. Okay.
Hmm.
So most times when coaches start a business, they
Yes.
have their own stories. What's your story?
Ah.
Girl,
Okay.
you know we
Well,
have to go there.
listen, I got married and I was on the beach in Barbados and it was fabulous, and all our family and friends around like everybody else. The
Hmm.
one thing, if I could say, is that when you're in a relationship and everything is amazing and you get ready, plan your wedding, it's fabulous, and you sign that piece of paper. Some people have beautiful music playing, everybody's mingling, and you're signing away with the feather pen or whatever it is that you choose to do. What you're actually signing is the contract, which is literally called the Divorce Act, because if you end this contract that you're now signing, it's the Divorce Act that unsigns it. So,
Hmm.
what what a lot of us walk into, is this beautiful thing called marriage. And we do expect it to be our happily ever after. We do have these, beautiful children. It's this wonderful family. And then for me, it just, how can I say, it became a matter of miscommunication, expectation, no boundary setting. And it eventually got to the point where I said, I don't even recognize myself in the mirror anymore. I'm doing a lot of twisting and turning and bending to try to accommodate someone. And, no fault of his own. We've all grown up in our own environments and with our own stuff. And I think just because of the way I grew up and the way he grew up was very different. And so I was not, and I will take full responsibility, I was not that nurturing type, if that makes any sense. I have
Hmm.
learned to become that, especially because of my kids.
Hmm.
Um, I have one kid who's just like his dad, and I have a daughter who's just like me. So we're kind of like whatever. Whereas they need a little bit more support in certain areas,
Hmm.
and I wasn't getting that. So I do take responsibility. I've learned a lot, of course, and if I had to do it all over again, I believe I would have done things differently.
Hmm.
Would I have still married him? Absolutely, because that's what he was, my person. That's what I was
Hmm.
supposed to do, and I have no regrets. But yeah, I think for me, it was just communicating what I needed, setting certain boundaries, not compromising so much of myself. That took a toll for me,
Hmm.
and it wasn't going to work for the rest of my life. So here we are.
Wow. Okay,
And
so then your journey through the whole process to get a
yes,
divorce, how was that for you?
horrible. It was horrible, and it was
Through the courts, was it
horrible.
through the court system or was it
It
because of your
was.
husband? Okay.
Well, it was, let's say a bit of both,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, when someone isn't happy with what's happening, I'll say that. And I was when the person who asks for the divorce asks for divorce, it's probably because they've thought about it for quite a while,
Mhm.
or they've maybe even said that I don't want to live like this. But the other person, and then you always give in, so the other person doesn't really take you that seriously. And then the day comes where you're like, oh no, 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 I'm serious. Actually, we have to be done. And so he was not happy. And, things happen. And people, I always say that good people act badly during divorce,
Mm.
you know?
And you're
Um,
thinking that their true self came out or comes out during the divorce process, or
I,
because
I think
sometimes.
that I think they lose themselves. I don't know if your true self comes out. And that's what I want to help people get to the point where their true self does come out. Because a lot of the time, again, good people act really, really badly. So they do, and they say a lot of things that they wouldn't normally do. It's just not who they are, but they're reacting to the stuff that's happening, the legal system. And why is this other person able to, keep me in court asking for certain documents, and my lawyer keeps asking me for these documents? Every time I talk to my lawyer, I got to pay my lawyer. Like, it just goes on and on and on. and
Mhm.
and so for that, it's very frustrating. But
Mhm.
I have I guess a motto or something that I lived by when I was going through my divorce, and it was that I was going to live with integrity, style, class, and grace, so that I could be happy, healthy, and whole. I woke up every day and I said that to myself, and I said, no matter what comes my way, this is how I'm going to tackle it, and this is me being my true self.
Nice.
Mhm.
So, Kathy, after you went through all of this, and because the stories behind coaches
Yes,
reasoning for doing stuff is because of their own story.
absolutely.
And I can only imagine what you went through with the court system, especially when one the ex and you were going back and forth and not agreeing. And most times, especially if you have properties and kids, it must affect the kids as well. You know what I mean? Because it's not,
Yeah,
when we get married, we're thinking it's just us, but it's like a whole combination of the whole family, right?
absolutely.
So, question for you though, right? In how would you coach someone? Who would be your ideal client? Would you be getting clients who want to fix the relationship, or actually, I'm done, 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 and we need to get this going, and kind of wellness check? So, who would be
Right.
your ideal client?
So ideally, my ideal client is anybody who wants to understand why they ended up where they did. And not only that, let's take it a step further, learn from what they've gone through, use this as a massive learning experience, and then to become better for the rest of their life, right? And
So you want them through a process, not to interrupt. Do you
oh
want
no, I
them?
definitely walk them through a
Okay.
process. Absolutely. So let's just say somebody comes to me. I have somebody right now that I'm coaching who is thinking about it. She's communicated it to her soon to be ex-husband that she does not want to be in this anymore. And so it's really just taking her through the steps of understanding what is it that you're actually asking for. Okay, so you want to end the relationship. You have your reasons. Are you sure? Yes, I've
Mm,
tried. Okay, fine. So here we are. She's decided this is what she wants to do. What does that look like for you? Property, children, all the things that you just mentioned. Because
mhm,
it's easy to say, I want a divorce. And then the reality of the actual separation and the stuff comes
mhm,
into play. So I walk
mhm.
people down the path of understanding, what is it that you want from this? What are you hoping to get from all of this? When it's all said and done, what are you actually looking for? Because if you come out of it and walk right back into another situation that looks exactly like it, you've learned nothing.
So, Kathy, so with your title, it sounds like you're
Mhm.
also a wellness and life coach as well, no?
So it sort of spirals into life coach. This is why on my website you'll see that I'm a divorce coach, family mediator, which I am, and also a life coach. And I think that for a lot of people, there's definitely a wellness component to it, because I look at your core, I look at your essence. I,
Mhm,
I look at who you are, so that you again can handle this divorce your way and not
mhm,
run someone else's game. The person who is the high conflict, let's say, for example, that's a dangerous game to play, especially if you're not that type of person, because again,
mhm,
you become reactory, right? I need you to keep your emotional intelligence in check, or at least to have some, and if you don't, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you communicate with your ex. I'm going to help you communicate with your divorce professionals, your lawyers, your mediators, whatnot. I'm going to help you communicate with your kids. I'm going to help you learn to communicate and fall in love with yourself.
Okay, so you dig deep. So you went
I dig deep.
dig deep, go right to the root.
Yes, because all these emotions especially
Mhm.
come from somewhere.
Mhm.
The divorce is the byproduct, but at the same time, you have so much stuff, and I'm not a therapist. I am not a therapist. I don't, we don't live in the past. What we do is we may poke around in the past just to
Mhm.
sort of understand what's really going on the surface
Yes.
today,
Mhm.
so that you can move forward. That's my goal,
Gotcha.
is to get you to move forward.
So would you also be a mediator? So if let's say yeah, so you if your client goes to
I
court, would
am
you
a
go with
mediator,
so
yes.
you're a mediator? Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
I'm also a family mediator, yeah, so I have the legal information. I went full in with everything
Why not?
divorce.
Why not? Dot all your eyes, eh?
Absolutely, absolutely, because it's really important. Not only is the emotional component to a divorce extremely important to deal with, but also having people understand the legal side of it. I am not a lawyer. Let me qualify that again. I am not a lawyer. Okay, I'll qualify that also. But what I have is legal information that I provide to people.
And
Have you thought about your pension?
resources.
Right? Have you gotten the person to sign the document so that you could get the pension valuation, for example, versus just that little statement that comes in the mail every year, right? We got to go beyond that. Have you thought about how you want to divide the house? What are you willing to compromise on? Are you looking for spousal support? Are you looking for child support? Are you entitled to it? What are your rights and responsibilities? These sorts of things, getting you organized. Again, what types of questions do you need to ask your lawyer so that you can maximize your time with them, right? As opposed to, I'm not sure, and sitting on the phone and they're just clocking in the money, and you get this bill and you're like, well, what? For what? Right? So
So you
I try to
prepare
save you
them.
from all of that.
So you
Yeah,
prepare them. So my extra question as well,
absolutely.
Kathy. Would you ever, because before people get married, they go into marriage counseling, right? Wouldn't you be
Yeah.
an ideal person for that as well? Go see
Yes.
Kathy before all of that happens. Let's get her a duck in a row. Let's figure shit out, and you know,
You
do you
are,
do that as
oh
well,
dear. Oh, are you in my head? Um,
girl?
and I say this, okay, and people find this really interesting because I am a separation and divorce coach because of what I went through, of course,
Mhm.
right? And I want
Mhm.
to help people not go through all of that stuff. Okay.
Mhm.
But ideally, we're going to fast forward, and maybe because of this conversation, it might happen sooner than later. I don't know. But really and truly, my goal, the story I gave at the beginning, where you're sitting down in this beautiful setting, getting married to this person that you adore, and you're just
Mhm.
sign. You don't even know what you're signing. You don't even look at it.
Mhm.
It's the
Mhm.
one contract on the planet, and most people don't look at many contracts, but it's the one contract. It is a contract. It's a
It
marriage
is.
contract,
Mhm.
right? It's a marriage license, whatever. It means something when you want to get out. Do you actually know what it
Yeah,
means
I didn't
that
even
you're
look at
signing?
mine. I didn't even look at mine. All I did was
Nobody
sign
looks
away.
at it.
Yeah.
Nobody. So I understand that, oh, can you tolerate his snoring? And, if it, oh, stop, right? That is, get a separate room for that. Like, who cares? And marriages work great if people have two separate rooms anyway. But the point being,
She said what she said.
right? Right? That's true. I don't care. Like, this is reality, man.
It is.
Like,
It
that
is.
whole conventional way of
I'm gonna
marriage.
tell you a story after that. But go ahead,
Yeah.
Kathy.
Everyone's marriage is very different, and it
It's
has to work for them,
different. Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So really, I'm about what happens if, like any contract you sign, you get into a mortgage, you get into anything, any kind of investment. What's the out clause? Do
Mhm.
you know what the out clause is? What is that going to look like for you? Are you going to gouge this person? Are you taking stock of who you truly are, the essence of you? Because if this does happen, what kind of beast am I looking at here? You know what I mean? Like, what do these conversations do to your insides? I need to
Mhm.
see that. I need to know that, right? So yes, before you get married, these are the conversations. I need you to
Mhm.
know that you've looked at the Divorce Act, because that's the contract you're signing, right? All the other
Mhm.
stuff is semantics. And, you know, can you be respectful of each other's differing opinions? This is huge. And I'm not just talking wash the dishes and whatnot. I'm talking truly politics, religion, COVID, vaccine. Can you be respectful of each other's differing opinions?
So we're
Right?
hoping that those conversations come way, way ahead of the whole marriage.
Most times they don't. Everybody is just starry-eyed. I spoke to a girl who I saw on Facebook, and Facebook is a brilliant teller of truth, okay? I know there's a lot of shade out there and a lot of, "Oh, everything's so fabulous," and whatnot, right? But the reality is people are going through some stuff, but
Yes, they
they
are.
post brilliant
Great
and
stuff.
beauty
And
and
there's
everything's
suffering
amazing.
behind. Yes.
So I have a friend of mine who, lost contact with her for a while. Just share this really quickly. And I said to her, looking at her Facebook post after a while, she'd gone blank for a bit. And I said, "Well, wait a second, but that's not the same guy she was engaged to when I knew her." So I messaged her on Facebook because I didn't have her number anymore. So I messaged her and I said, "Listen, do you mind talking?" And she's like, "Absolutely." I said, "What happened?" And she literally said, "It was 2 weeks before our wedding. I was doing my hair and makeup trial. He forgot. I woke up the morning. I said, 'Hey, hon, you gonna take me to my hair and makeup trial?' He went ballistic. 'Oh, I got things to do, blah, 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 blah.'" And he drives her there begrudgingly, picks her up. She says, "Kathy, we turned the corner, and the way he turned the corner, it was like he was a stunt driver. Okay, he whipped the corner around, and she was like, why am I fearing for my life right now? I'm going to get my hair and makeup done for our wedding. Like, what is this about?" She said, "I took the weekend off, went away with my girlfriends. She said, before she even came back, she called him and said, 'I have to call off the wedding.'" They were high school sweethearts, like 13 years dating. It was unbelievable because
That
she
was a red flag,
recognized,
eh?
but there had been so many red flags. And it's funny because when she even talked to her mom, she says her mom, because your parents and all your family and friends, they don't want to
Mhm.
say, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
Mhm.
Right? This is
Mhm.
it. But her mom says, "When I come over, I know you guys have been in a fight because the dog is hiding." Come on now.
But
Right?
you know what I'm glad about what your girlfriend did is that she
Mhm.
actually acknowledged it before she signed the divorce contract. And I
It
just
was, and
love that
that's it.
word. Just really love the way you put it. It's a divorce contract,
The
a
divorce
marriage
contract,
divorce contract. So I really
literally.
like that because I'm going to tell you, a lot of women and men
Mhm.
would go through it. They have the red flags for years.
For
And I mean,
years.
I can tell you, I'm one of them. The red flag was there right? And
Two hands up.
exactly. You see it, but we chose to ignore it, especially if you go into this marriage young, and
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
and not only that, Donna, I'm gonna say, you also asked me, like, what is my ideal client? A
mm-hmm,
fixer, somebody who can fix things. I can fix this. I can make this
mm-hmm,
better, right?
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
then you realize I can't because they are who they
They
are.
harden who they
They
are.
are who they
Because
are, and
that's
it
what that
doesn't make
that
them
was
bad people. It just makes them not for me or you or
exactly,
whoever.
exactly. But you're
Yeah,
right. I mean, we're fixers.
we're
It's okay.
fixers.
We'll help him out. It's fine. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, those are
D-
my clients.
Yeah,
Those are my clients. So why
those are
can't I fix this?
yeah, those are clients. So you're definitely going to be fixing their whole aura and the way
Yeah,
they
well, this is
think.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because
Well,
they've been doing it for so long. You just don't know any other way to think. It's like, well, of course I'm gonna fix it.
it becomes a norm.
Yeah,
It just becomes a norm
absolutely.
and it feels comfortable. But I'm really glad that she did get out
She
and
did.
realize this.
Yeah. And now she
Um
lives in Vancouver and she's happy like a lark.
look at that. I remember
Yeah.
with mine too, right? 2 weeks before my marriage, we had a huge breakout too. And I went in and I knew I wasn't supposed to go in. I knew. I mean, I knew that long before even, but 2 weeks, like I see it plain as day, Kathy.
Yes.
And
I
because
believe
because
you.
of face and ego and da 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 da.
Ego. Woo!
Yes, you
That
girl, you
ego.
know what ego is. I
A
said, you know
beast.
what? I'm still doing it. And I'm not gonna lie, after doing it probably 2 3 years because we were
Mhm.
together a long time and get married, but maybe 2 3 years, not even that much. It's like zoop,
Yeah.
and we were together like for 20, 21, 22 years.
Wow.
But I
You
can tell
do
you something,
know
Catherine. When we talk about being insecure and ego and trying to fix people and forgetting to fix ourselves,
yourself.
right? Wearing these
Absolutely.
blindfolds and just doing what we
Yes.
gotta do,
Yeah.
and we're left in the dust. So people like you,
Mhm.
a person like you who is gearing up these women, especially because we lead with so much emotion and we're
You do.
fixers.
Yep.
It would be great. You have the before the marriage. I think you should put that on your website. Like
I think I
seriously.
just might.
Then yeah,
I love it.
let's talk
Yeah,
about the marriage slash divorce contract, because that's very,
yeah,
very important. And learning to ask the right question and setting
absolutely.
boundaries, and making sure you're doing the right thing, and don't ignore certain things, because we're
That's
so
right.
good for that.
That's
So
right.
yeah,
And
fix.
then what we do is, because we see this in the person and because we're such fixers, at some point we expect them to be fixed.
That's the thing. We have
And then
high
they're not
hopes.
fixed according to who? According to
The
who?
one that's
According to
fixed.
me. According to me, you need to be fixed, right? Not That's not okay. It's just not okay. And
No.
this is why like I said, I take full responsibility for my part in the demise of my relationship. And I really try to get other people to really just be accountable
They
for their
have
parts,
to.
right? Because it's huge and you learn so much about yourself. Like, why do I have that need?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just ego? It goes so beyond that. It's
It
maybe you were
does.
validated in a past life.
It,
Maybe you were parentified, by your own parents who put you in that position to make decisions that were not appropriate for a child. So you just went
mm-hmm.
about life thinking everybody needs to do what I say. I don't know, but you need to find where
The
that
root
all
cause.
comes
We
from.
all have to call from the root cause, and I hear you. It's
Yeah.
just I just I'm telling you, you're the third powerful woman I spoke to this week. Like, when I say powerful, I mean powerful women who has stories, and based on their journey, taking them into coaching. And I had another young lady on here a couple of days ago, and she was talking about understanding her husband's communication style, because she thought,
Mhm.
like, why isn't he not like me, and not
Right.
realizing that everybody's different.
Absolutely.
And here I am talking to you, and and I'm doing my notes, and I've learned so many things from you today, Kathy, because I mean, we're older. I'm actually, next week is my birthday. I'm going to be 53 next week. Yeah,
Nice.
Aquarius, yay.
Love it.
And to know, Kathy, that I start learning like true life and being awake and being purposeful, and at 40, not even 40, well, I left my husband at 42,
Mhm.
but close, that was for like 47, 48, because we
Yeah.
didn't have persons like you or myself, or coaches or
Mhm.
therapists that we could speak to, because of ego or whatever we're going through, thinking it's fine, because
Yeah.
everybody that we surround ourselves was had the same behavior, so it was
Absolutely.
normal.
Yeah.
So we definitely have to come onto that box.
Absolutely. And people become to accept it of you because
Well, that's it though.
that's how Donna is, or that's how Kathy is, and
Exactly.
so they expect it of you, so you act accordingly. What's the
It's
problem?
true.
Right?
You know what? Funny enough, when you were telling me about your story, when you keep saying I'm going to leave and you're going to leave, but you never did, and when you actually did, it was like, what? The same thing with
Mhm.
my ex-husband. I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave, and
Yeah.
when it actually happened, he's looking at me like, what? I didn't see
Yeah.
that coming. Like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy how people mindset is, because we're
Absolutely.
fixers, but in reality now we are, because we're coaches.
You
We're going
understand.
to be
So
healthy. Listen.
I had this moment, because I do a lot of self-care. I'm
Hmm.
all about self-love. People
Me
call it
too.
selfish. I sometimes call it
No,
selfish
no.
if people aren't
Mm-mm.
understanding what it actually means. But be a little
Hmm.
selfish is really about
It's a
self-love,
great. It is. It
right?
is. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm always on a journey. I've been on a journey, and I think that a lot of the time, sometimes you do have to go through something to start the journey. So I
Yes, we
totally
do.
understand what you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
because I think if we were on the journey, we wouldn't have made a lot of mistakes that we've made. So here we go. But I was in meditation, and it was powerful. And I got up and I sat on my couch the other day. It happened this week actually, and I sat on my couch and I thought, wait a second. I'm not a problem solver. Like, I don't help people solve problems, right? I know I talk about problem solving, but what you say is powerful. Words are powerful. I stood up and I just wrote down empowerment agent. I'm like, that's what I am. I'm an empowerment agent. I help you empower yourself
Mm-hmm.
so that you
It's
can
true
start to
though.
make decisions that are good and
For
best for you,
I agree.
right? That's what I
Girl,
do.
look at you. Okay, that's what you do.
What I do. Drop mic. Okay, we're done. No.
No, we're
Everybody
not
got
done.
that?
We're
No.
just starting. But it's true. We need to
Yeah.
empower
We
people
have to. And I know
because
people talk
you
about empowerment, 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 but as a coach, I think, I'm not helping you solve the problem of divorce. Divorce is divorce is divorce.
divorce is
Everybody's
divorce. Yeah.
situation looks differently. But if I can help empower you based on your personal needs and wants and who you are to the core of
Hmm.
you, if I can help empower that and bring that out and bring out the self-love, then everything you do is going to be with integrity, style, class, and grace, and you will get through this divorce your way. And you'll
Exactly.
you'll come out,
Exactly.
amazing roses on the other end.
I co-sign with that. Because yeah, but it's true though. It is what it is. We
It is
empower
what it
people.
is.
It's now your choice. You have to make that choice to fix
Yes,
you or to
that's
work with you. Because if you don't, we can't fix you. We can
I
just take
can't.
and we can. We can't even hold. We're going to take baby steps with you. We're going to
That's right.
stand beside you.
That's right.
But initially, and I've always talked about the story about the dog and the nail. I just love that story about this dog lying always sleeping on this nail. And every time
Mhm,
the neighbor would come and see this dog laying on the nail and he keeps wailing and bawling, and he would say to the owner, "Why don't you move the dog?" And the owner says, "No.
mhm.
When he gets real uncomfortable, he'll move."
The move. Yeah,
Because we're
yeah,
here not to fix people, but to empower them to
that's
change.
right.
I
That's right.
so I so love that, Kathy. I really, really
And
so love that.
we wouldn't be who we are
No,
today
you
if
won't.
someone forced us out of
It's
something we weren't ready to be out of.
exactly.
We're just too stubborn for that.
Listen,
Right?
listen. You know how much time people would tell me about your husband? This you
Yeah.
can't tell
Right?
me that. I'm gonna fix him. I'm gonna fix him
Right?
until okay. We move when we want to.
Yeah.
When the
Yeah.
nail get really hard and they start poking us more. I remember one of the time he said to me, "I didn't see this coming. How come?" I said, "You mean you didn't see this coming? I'm always watering you. Look how nice and fresh you
Yes.
are." And I'm dying. I'm dying.
Mm.
Like I'm not. I died. I remember some nights I would be going to bed and like I'm like
Yeah.
like I'm be hicking and stress. I didn't even know I
Yeah.
had a I didn't even know that, but the journeys as I started, I realized that I had mental issues and stress. Because if you had asked me back then, no, I'm fine. My grandmother
Yeah.
did it. My mother did it. We're fine, Kathy. But for now that we have persons like yourself and me and other amazing coaches with integrity is doing this for the betterment of the human
Yes.
being and the whole society of things,
Yes.
it's a powerful and loving world if people would just see what we see now.
I
You know what I
know.
mean?
It's the
Y-
energy. I want loving energy. I want light. I call myself the beacon of light. If I can show you that I'm doing it and I am living my best life, and I'm shining my light. I know it sounds very cliche, but if I'm shining my light, whoever, is seeing my light, because I'm the beacon, right? I'm the light. Here I am. You
Come
can
to
you
me.
can come. Yeah. Right. And let's share light together. Let's make this place bright.
Oh my God.
There's
Why
nothing
do I
wrong with this.
Kathy, I'm supposed to be putting the ticker on the bottom and every time because we get so excited with my thing,
Yeah.
I forget.
Oh,
Listen, when
oh, that's
did you see
okay. Got it. Is that who's that? Who's that? Who's
that?
Craig Pier
Okay, that's the
Gretchen?
wrong one. See, I'm even
I'm
putting
like,
the wrong
listen,
one.
girl. No.
See? Oh, you know what? It was on the other one.
Oh,
Oh, you know
it's
what?
all good.
It's
It's
all
all
good. We're
good.
going to be, you know what, Kathy? We are going to tighten up the segment. And I must say, this was just a level up segment. You are a
Awesome.
breath of fresh air, like all these crazy, amazing women that I've spoken to. And I'm going to tell you, like, all of you guys have the same type of energy,
Awesome.
jokes, full of jokes and full of laughter and just lightheartedly. So
Has
this
to
is
be.
great. Yeah, we have to be.
Yeah.
So, Kathy, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
You
you for
are,
having me. This is
yeah,
exciting.
best
This is
of
fun.
luck, and I really definitely want you to be, come to Kathy before you get married, type of person. I don't know where
Yeah.
you're gonna
Or
talk.
when you're thinking about it, if things
Or
are happening,
thinking,
right?
have a thing to talk about. These are the questions that you have to ask, and
Yeah.
going with your eyes open, lead with your head and not your heart.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're in love, but you have to lead with your head and not your heart, and be
Yeah.
open and see the red flags and be, receptive. Because,
Absolutely.
Kathy, divorce is not cheap.
No.
No,
No.
this divorce is not cheap. So, people who's on here and listening,
Yeah.
check out Kathy. Check her out. Kathy,
Check me
thank you.
out.
Check her
Thank
out.
you, Donna. You're amazing. Thank you for having me. It was
So
awesome.
thank you everyone for joining us. And today's episode is we're talking to Kathy Malone. She's a divorce slash separation coach, wellness, life, all of the above. So if you need her, she's a one-stop shop.
I
So this
am.
episode is brought to you by Talk with Savage Desires. Please follow us, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace out.